enemies book lovers, my name is Ash. Welcome back to my channel. We are here to talk about the books I read in the month of February. It wasn't a very long month. There weren't a whole lot of books I read last month, but let's just go over what the books I planned on reading, what the books I ended up reading, and how I felt about them. But first, we're going to talk about the books I was supposed to read. So these are the books I was supposed to read in the month of February. I did get through half of them, technically. Let's talk about the ones I didn't read first. One of those being The Greek Gods, Percy Jackson. I wasn't in the mood for it. I started it, didn't love it, only because I wasn't in the mood for it. It was still fun. Like, I did the first chapter. I just couldn't get into it. So for The Adventures in Aldea, I just used Long Way Down by Jason Reynolds instead of that one, because technically it is on the left in the middle shelf. So I counted it because I wasn't really in the mood for the Greek God book. Maybe one day I'll get to it. I just wasn't in the mood for it. Another one is Nemesis Games by James S.A. Corey. I really wanted to finish it. I didn't. I got over halfway, but I'm almost done it. I should be done it in 2 days from today. So by the time I upload this video, I should be done Nemesis Games. So at least I'll have gotten this done very early March, but I got really close to finishing this, just not on time. And the last book that I did not get to, unfortunately, was The Bane Chronicles by Cassandra Clare and a few other authors. I just didn't really get to this book because I didn't have the time to. I had too many books on my February TBR. It was the shortest month of the year and I just didn't read as much as I wanted to. So I never got to this. I don't know when I'll be getting to this, but I do want to have this on a future TBR so I could continue Cassandra Clare's books, but I didn't finish it or get to it. I didn't even start it. So unfortunate, but I'll get to this eventually, hopefully in the future. But yeah, didn't get around to this one, sadly. With that being said, I still got to 7 novels in the month of February and 3 manga. So let's just go over what I read and how I felt about them and my ratings overall. I had one book that was a DNF, one book that was 2.75 stars, one book that was 3.25 stars, 2 were 4 stars, 1 was 4.25 stars, and 1 was 5 stars. I know, I do quarter ratings. I personally love quarter ratings, so I do apologize. They're a little bit confusing, but this is what I got for the month, and it's a kind of mixed bag. It's not the best month, it's not horrible. I don't think it was a very, very strong month, but I had fun with it, so let's go over the books really quickly. Of course, I read volume 21, 22, and 23 of Black Butler series. Not going to discuss the series because I have a lot on my channel, but making progress, so that's good. I like to see it. It's usually a nice just get to once in a while, so yes, I got to the 3 volumes of the Black Butler series. My DNF for the month was one I felt so badly for because this was recommended to me by Lorelai. I honestly think that I could have maybe liked this at a different time. It's just like, it feels definitely like a me thing because it was actually pretty interesting in the beginning. And let me just tell you what the book is first before I start rambling about it. And that is Thieves Gambit by Kavion Lewis. Like I said, this was a recommendation from my friend. The reason why I DNF'd this wasn't because I thought it was bad. It wasn't really just for me because it was just a little bit too much of the thievery and high stakes and them trying to get these articles and these items that they needed to steal in order to win the games. And I thought it was a really cool concept. I really like the ideas of it. I just don't think it really worked for me. If you're interested in that though, I definitely recommend this because I feel like there's a lot of really good concept in this book. For one, the value of friendship and family is very, very strong in this book. The main character's name is Rosalind and she has to be a part of this games in order to save her mother. So if she wins these thievery high stakes games, she can get one wish of her choosing and she wants to save her mother because her mother was kidnapped. And the relationship with her and her mom is kind of tumultuous. I don't really like her mom that much. She has taught her daughter, the main character, things I don't really approve of. And so we follow Rosalind learning about friendship, trusting people, kind of coming to terms with her family. And I actually really liked the concept of that. I did only make it halfway through this book, but I still really thought there was a lot of very powerful points in this book. There's also a romance in this book. It's not very heavily emphasized, but I kind of liked the pacing of it. It was nice. I don't really know if I really loved them together. Like, I was just kind of indifferent to it, but I still thought it was kind of cute in the way it was done. There was a lot of interesting and important topics in this book that I really liked, but I just couldn't get my head around the heist and that kind of aspect of it. But I think there's a lot of important things in this book regardless of that. I definitely recommend it if you like the high stakes games, tournaments, heists, stealing and thievery. If you like that kind of stuff, check this out. For my 2.75 stars, I am so upset about this one because I want to like this so badly. I want to like it, but I just couldn't like it. That was Archangel Storm by Nalini Singh. I wanted to like this so much. I've been enjoying the Guild Hunter series. I've really been loving the characters, but these 2 characters, I don't even know their names. I wish I wrote them down because I don't remember them at all. But the characters in this book, I just didn't really care for. It was really unfortunate because I was looking forward to it, and I know a few people on my channel were looking forward to me reading this too. I just wasn't really that enamored with it. This was my weakest book of the month. I just had to kind of force myself through it. I only really read this because I wanted to continue the series and I wanted to at least know what's happening in the world. I actually don't remember much about this book, but I do know that I'm still enjoying the world because there's certain characters who came on screen or on the page, I guess you could say, and I was just so excited to see them. So it's not even the series or the writing, it's just the characters I just didn't really feel that connected to, but I'm hoping that I will still enjoy the series. I want to continue it and love it. I'm a little bit nervous though that I won't like the couples coming up, but I'm really hoping I like it. The last book, which was, I don't know what it was called, but the last book before this one, I loved it so much. I cried. I really had a good time with it. And then this one, I just like kind of a letdown for me. So I'm hoping that I will like the next one. I'm a little bit nervous. I just didn't love it overall. It was kind of just boring. They're kind of trying to solve like a mystery, and it was primarily just them trying to figure out who did it. And the romance didn't really feel natural. It just felt kind of random at times. It didn't feel like the other books where it felt kind of well done and well paced. I just didn't really care for it. It was fine. It was just fine. The next book on my list is going to be one that I have mixed feelings on. This was a 3.25, and this is Storm and Fury by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This book, I actually liked parts of it. I listened to this on the dramatized version on my Hoopla app, and I actually really had a good time because of that. I might have actually liked this more because of the dramatized version. The male narrator did an amazing job. Honestly, that's probably the reason why I even liked the book. It felt like a book written for a middle grade audience in a new adult sense. So like it had new adult themes, but it was read like a middle grade. Like the characters acted a lot more immature than they should be. I think the characters were at least 17, maybe 18 years old, and they were acting like 15-year-olds or younger. And it was just kind of weird, and I didn't love that. This story, we're following Trinity. She is some type of being that everyone's trying to protect. The gargoyles in the area, or like people that are watching over her, who are the gargoyles, like the guards, they are trying to protect her and keep her away from the demons in the world because they want her for some reason. We don't know until the end of the book why, but they want her to use her for their own gain. And then we have Zane, who is a guy that eventually shows up. He is someone that kind of becomes her guard and protects her and keeps her safe, and he is the male love interest in this book. I actually liked Zane quite a bit. I actually did enjoy him as a character. I didn't love Trinity though. Trinity acted very young and immature, and it was a little bit no, it wasn't a little bit, it was annoying. It was very annoying. This was read like Crave, where the characters are kind of immature, or like Zodiac Academy. It felt like that, where it's like these characters are supposed to be teenagers, but they felt like young teenagers, and it just kind of took away from the moments in the book. It felt kind of weird at times, and the inner monologue was so cringy. Like anytime she saw Zane without a shirt, it would just be like this inner monologue of her just admiring his body and being like, holy cannoli, look at those abs. It's just like, it was so awkward. Like she literally said at one point like holy cannoli, and then like oh my guacamole or something, and I'm like, girl, how old are you? 17, 18? You're acting like you're 12. For this book, I feel like it had potential. I would have continued the series. I think I'm not going to continue it just because it just felt, like I said, a little bit too young for me, and I just don't personally love that. There was like some, I don't even know if I should say steam or smut, but kind of, it was insinuated. It wasn't extremely detailed, but it was like a very foggy first time scene with both of them. It was interesting. I mean, this is a YA, so it's a bit strange to see that in these books. They're teenagers, like 17 or younger. I do not want to read that in my books, so we're not gonna get too far into that, I guess. That's a whole different topic. It was a fun time. It was mostly just because the audiobook was a lot of fun. That's why I enjoyed it. I'm not going to continue the series of this, but I still had fun reading it. The next two books are very different from one another, but they both got 4 stars, which is really good. The first one is Look Both Ways by Jason Reynolds. This was my poll pick last month, and I had a lot of fun with this one. This is following 10 different stories of kids kind of leaving their school and walking down the block toward their homes, and every single child has their own story behind them. I actually really liked this because it's middle grade, and it had like, you know, the middle grade humor. It wasn't really for me because I'm, you know, 30 years old now, but what I really liked about it is that the serious topics kind of sprinkled in to these topics and these stories. You would see that the kids are trying to do things for their parents to help them in situations like some of their parents had cancer, and so they were trying to do things to get them something that make them happy, and it was just like these small little things that kind of came together for more serious topics that was very well done in a way that wasn't too overwhelming, because obviously this is middle grade, you don't want to make it too dark. But yeah, I give this a 4 stars. I really liked it overall. It was really cute. I love Jason Reynolds' writing, so I'm always happy to read his work, and I'm really happy to have read this. The next one was one I had a lot of fun with. This is Lights Out by Nevessa Allen. This was literally the funniest book I ever read in my life. Like, I don't know how to explain it. It's a dark romance following our female protagonist who watches thirst traps on TikTok, and really likes this one guy. She starts to say things in Josh's comments, the guy that's in these thirst traps, and he kind of catches on to this and starts to be a little bit too attached to her at times. This is a dark romance, so there are some things in it that are very much out of the comfort zone of most people, which is very fair and understandable. There were some parts of this book that I just didn't love, I will admit. I think the reason why I love this so much is because I listened to this on audiobook and it was hilarious. The narrator for Josh is just so good at what he does. I know that he's pretty popular, I think, in like the romance space for audiobooks, but for a good reason. He is hilarious. He has a great voice, and the way that he does his lines are just perfect. He's able to like enunciate things that feel really natural. The way that he talks is very easy to understand, and it's like a normal conversation with someone in real life instead of being this like robotic narration that people usually do in audiobooks. And like I said, so funny. The jokes, like the little things that happen throughout the book, it's just so good. I loved it so much. Again, I never laughed at a book out loud in my life more than this book, and that's pretty good. That's saying something for a dark romance book. I think the later half of the book kind of took a turn that was fine. I didn't really love the second half of this book. I really liked the beginning of it though. I would probably continue the rest of these books if they had them on audio. The only reason why I listened to this is because I was on Hoopla, and I was blessed. My ears were blessed with the sounds of the voices of these characters, and so I had a great time with it. I had a lot of fun. Again, it is dark romance, so if you are not interested in interesting scenes, then maybe not for you. The next one is one I gave a 4.25 stars to. I think I was being very lenient, because now that I think about it, I think there are definitely things I could critique, but I had fun with it, so I'm not going to be too hard on it. This was my free book that I got from like Faro Feb or Stuff Your Kindle Day, and this is Lipsticks and Cameraclicks. This is by DJ Murphy. I really liked it. I gave it a 4.25 stars, and I personally really enjoyed my time reading this book. Now, again, I think there are a lot of critiques. There's a lot of things that happen within this book that maybe some people wouldn't enjoy. I personally loved it, and I think at the time I was reading it, it was perfect, because if I read this at a time I didn't really want to read this book, probably would have been a bit lower of a rating, but I personally really enjoyed this book. The main character's name is Indigo. I kept calling her River, didn't I? River is the guy. Indigo is the female protagonist. So Indigo and River have been friends since they were toddlers. They grew up together, they shared a house together alongside her friend, childhood friend's brother, but they also grew up together. So she's also childhood friends with the brother, River. Anyway, this is a lot just to tell you that they grew up together, childhood friends to lovers kind of thing. Indigo had a crush on River, but River was kind of like, we can't be together, I'm sorry, it's just we're friends, we can't do that. And the main reason why he didn't want to be with her is because his sister, which is friends with Indigo, didn't want him to be with her. She didn't want to like have them ruin their friendship, and so she said to River, don't be with her, like you can't be with her. And so the only reason why River ever said no to her is because of his sister, who wanted to respect her boundaries. And so Indigo's always been upset with this, and she dated in the past, and she dated recently to a guy that didn't really treat her that well. So she said, screw it, I want to do something that makes me feel good, and I want to promote my makeup career, and she wants to be a makeup artist. Her friend tells her that there's a Bachelor show going on, kind of like, it's not called the Bachelor show, but it's pretty much the Bachelor, okay? And she goes on the show. River is the cameraman because he's like a cinematographer, so he is filming some of this, and she meets Cade, who is a bachelor. The book just follows her and the other female contestants and the kind of like friendship and the rivalries between these people. So this is kind of like a love triangle because there's Cade and there's River, but it's kind of obvious as you read the book who ends up with who, like who she ends up with and who she chooses. And so it's not too difficult. I did expect her to be with one instead of the other because of how fast one of the relationships were compared to the other one. And I really liked it. Like I was rooting for these characters. Like when I saw them together, I was always rooting for them. But I really liked this. It was a lot of fun in my opinion. I just enjoyed my time. I don't think that the smut or like this, you know, the spicy scenes were really that great though. Like I'm not gonna say it was horrible, but it was fine. It was a little bit quick and it felt like it could have been a little bit more personal and slow, but regardless, I still liked the book overall despite that. They weren't constantly doing the deed or anything. It took a long time for them to get to that point, probably like over the 50% mark. So it was a nice pacing. There's a lot of criticism within this book, but like I said, I had so much fun with it, so I don't really mind that too much. Like I had fun. So that's kind of like the biggest thing with this book. I had a lot of fun with it, and because it's like a self-published indie author, I made sure that I didn't like put too much pressure on it. I knew that it was something that wasn't as hugely published, and so that made it even more fun for me to not really have to worry about that, not have to worry about criticizing it too much, and I just enjoyed my time reading it. And the last one, I don't really have to talk too much about this one because I've read this, I think this is my third time reading it. and that is A Long Way Down by Jason Reynolds. I gave this a 5 stars. Of course I gave it a 5 stars because I've given it a 5 stars both times I read it the first time. I actually tabbed it this time, so I tabbed all the parts I liked the most, which is really nice because, like I said, it's the third time I read it and I've never really done that. The second time I read it, I actually listened to it on audiobook. Jason Reynolds himself narrates this, so if you want to actually get the best experience, in my opinion, read it, like tandem read it. So read it physically and listen to it on audiobook, because I think Jason Reynolds does an incredible job with his own audiobook. It's actually been 5 years since I read this, which is insane. I actually forgot some things in this book, which is funny because I have really bad memory. So even though I've read this twice before, I actually forgot a little bit of what happened. And it just still impacts me the same way it did before. This is following Will. He sees his brother shot, and so he wants to get his revenge. It's this kind of more of a topic on gang violence and the cycle of violence that happens within youth, and it's really upsetting. We see Will taking an elevator, and each floor he stops at, he finds someone who passed away in his life, and they talk to him. They come into the elevator, and they speak to him, and it's like a very impactful, important story in my opinion. I don't really know how people feel about this book who have never been in these situations or have ever experienced gang violence in any way, shape, or form. It might not be as impactful, but I think it's still a beautiful read. I definitely recommend it. I always will, and I always do. It's only written in verse, so it's very easy to read. I think I read this within an hour, so I was just sitting on the couch reading it, and it's just beautifully done. Amazing. I will always recommend this. So if you want to read something that's really quick and easy, this is a good one to try. So those are all the books I read in February. In a total, this was 2,700 pages, which is not too bad. Less than last month, but still not too bad. I did read a decent amount of Way of Kings. I forgot to mention that in the beginning of the video, but it's fine. I am almost done Way of Kings. I will be done it within next week. I'll have a reading vlog. I think the next video I will have will be a reading vlog on the Way of Kings. I have like 4 or 5 days to read it, so I will be done that book soon, and I am very excited about it. These are the books I read in February, so not too bad. I'm still on track for my reading challenge. I still am on track for reading 100 books, so that's really good. And I read 2,700 pages, again, a little bit less than I want to. I want to try reading 100 pages a day, although there's only 28 days in February, so actually that's not actually that bad. Overall, a decent reading month. Maybe not like the strongest one I've ever had, but I do have some books on this that I definitely would recommend and would kind of hold close to my heart, so I'm not too mad about it, I guess. Let me know if there's any books that you enjoyed for the month of February. What one stood out to you, which ones you didn't love, like if you DNF'd anything, if you didn't like anything, or if you really love something, let me know. I always love hearing people's opinions on their books and what they read. It is March, so that means all the Easter and the flowers and the spring things are happening. If you've been watching up until this point, put flower emojis in the comments below with whatever you want to say, or just put flowers if you'd rather just do that. It is almost spring. It's about to be in a minute. There is snow outside as I speak, but it will be spring probably within the next few days, more spring weather, and I'm really excited about it. And there's going to be a lot of insects and flowers. I'm mostly excited for the latter, but it's okay. With one comes the other. Thank you so much for being here. Hope you have a great day, enjoy the weather, and hope to see you all soon. Goodbye, everyone.